knock that target down. So I'm going to bring it down. Ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to push the 2 buttons at the top. Boom! One shot. Hello tankers, welcome back to Motion RC. I'm James, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing, assembly, minor assembly, and a run through of the Heng Long Russian KV-1E. This is the upgrade edition. Every Heng Long tank that we carry at motionrc.com and motionrc.eu has 2 versions, the upgrade and the professional. The professional is going to have a lot of metal parts to it. Each tank is different depending on what's metal, but for the most part, like the tracks, tires sometimes, things like that. But this will be the upgrade edition of the KV-1, which is one of my favorite tanks now, doing a lot of looking up on World War II history. The KV-1 was a beast, and I'm excited to have it here in front of me. So again, for this video, we'll take it out of the box, show you everything that comes out of the box with any Heng Long tank, and then we'll get it plugged in on the table, show you what to do when you get one of these tanks right out of the box before you even get started accessorizing it and things like that. But then we'll go through the accessories, get those installed. We'll do the decaling, which is very minor for a tank like this, and then we'll wrap this video up. We'll take it outside and take it on a little test drive. So I say let's get started with the unboxing. One of my favorite things about these Heng Long tanks is how they come out of the box, pretty much all done up. I mean, from the second you pull it out, as you'll see here, you'll be able to start driving it almost immediately. So taking it out, again, we'll put our box over here. And you see, you get your instruction manual. They give you a little target and the antenna that you can put on, which all come in one box, but this will give you everything you need to know of how to work the transmitter, because again, all these tanks come ready to run or ready to tank. As you see, you got your transmitter here. You do get some airsoft pellets, because every tank can shoot airsoft pellets or do infrared sensor, which is cool. You got some smoke, because every tank has a smoke unit inside. You've got your battery, and you've got your box for your accessories. But as you can see, the tank is pretty much, is pretty much ready to go. You don't have to do any sort of building or anything like that. So first things first, let's pull our tank out. And there she is. That's the KV-1. So there's the tank. Now coming out of the box, again, your transmitter, you will need 6 AA batteries. I already opened this and added them in there. That's the only thing you're gonna need for the transmitter. And you'll notice when you pull your transmitter out that it doesn't have the gimbals on. They are in the box, so you attach those afterwards. Makes it easier, so they're not gonna break the gimbal. In packaging, again, your bullets, then you got your smoke. I'll just pull that out of the bag. And they give you a little like filler, which is cool. Again, your battery comes out. That's an 1800 milliamp lithium ion pack that comes out. And now on other tanks, I've been able to drive that for close to 30 minutes on that battery. It all depends on how fast and hard you're running your tank, but that battery is awesome. But we also sell now Admiral packs that are larger lithium ions that fit the tanks, and will get you more battery life. And then in your little accessories kit, you're gonna have your IR sensor. So that's gonna go on top. There's a magnetic piece on there that just attaches, so you find that and plug it in. We'll show you that in a little bit. And then you have all your accessories. So these are going to be your scale bits. It's going to be different for every tank. For the KV-1, you don't have much in here, so it should be pretty simple to get this together. And then that will pretty much do it for everything in this. Let's get rid of that. Let me close this box quick so it looks nice. There it is. And now, here we go. So you have your tank out. You have your sticks, you put your batteries in. Now we're gonna empty out the accessories kit, and you'll find your little gimbals, your thumbsticks. Let me just spread everything out. So a lot of plastic bits. These are your wheel caps, hub caps, and just a few little accessories. Some of these wires, steel wires, some extra track links that are going to get mounted on the tank, and then we'll go into the manual to figure out where all these things are supposed to go. But this is what you want first. Get your little thumbsticks, and they are just press on. So all you do, push them in. If you want it, if you wanted to dab them with glue, I've never found a reason to do that, but you could always do that if you just wanted to be sure. But once they're in, you're pushing down, they are good to go. So next things first, let's test the tank before you do anything, because with our customer service, it's best now to make sure all the functioning is working on your tank before you get into detailing it and putting anything on, painting it. That's a lot of guys want to do that. I do. I love them because I think not only do they work as an RC model, but they also work as a static model. If you see, if you look behind me, they just look good when they're up on the shelf. So let's get started. You'll see on the bottom of your tank, and now it depends on the tank, but with the KV-1, you have your on-off switch is on the bottom, and you have your hatch for your battery. So let me get a screwdriver, and that's the only thing on here that you're gonna need. Right, so now we're in. Now first things first, I'm going to turn on the transmitter, and then I'm going to turn on the tank. Now when you turn on your tank, every tank has a light that'll give you an idea that obviously the battery is working. So you see our flashing light in the front. When the light is flashing, your tank is not on yet. Nothing's going to happen. You have to turn it on. So on the front of your transmitter, you see this lock button. That's what's going to turn on your tank. All right, so the first things first, let's push that and make sure she fires up. There you go. Now the light will go solid, and now she is purring. So now at this point, you can drive it. So now this is where you want to test all the features. So first things first, let's test left or right, traversing. Sweet. Forward. Back. And now, again, these tanks have a differential speed, so depending on how hard you push on the sticks will determine how fast and slow. So you can really get scale movements, and they'll gradual. So again, it's really nice the way you can do that, and it works for all directions. Now let's do the turret, which is going to be on your left stick. So traverse the turret, and now it's not full 360. So when you hit that edge, you don't want to do that too much, but that'll let you know that you're gone too far. It doesn't go full 360, but test it all the way to the other side. And there we go. So that works. Then you also got your barrel. Can go up and down. So again, you don't want to get in the habit of going too hard or stripping the gears. It will stop before it does that. So you see it'll go up, and then it'll stop, but it won't grind. So you just want to make sure that works. So now next, let's test some of the sounds. So machine gun sounds, top left. There you go. You've got then on the right, this is what's going to shoot BBs, but in order to do that, you're going to hit both together. And you see it's got recoil, so now a recoil feature works, which is great. There's 4 different recoil speeds that we can show you a little later. Now let's test our smoke unit. So before I do the smoke unit, let's test the volume button. So you have 4 or 5 different volume settings. So it'll raise it up, louder, 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 loudest, I believe, and then, louder, even louder, and then off. So it's better to test your smoker when the sound is off. So now you can still drive it around with no sound, but you'll hear your smoker working. So we're going to test that. And let's get it aimed at there. So you hear the smoker is working. Now, for the most part, these get tested at the factory, so they'll probably be smoking there, and you can see it puffing now. So the smoker works, which is awesome. It just gives a puff, and everything's different. The smoke comes out different places on every tank. So yours, if you're watching this video but on a different tank, obviously go check out the video we have for your specific tank. But you can see this one is a nice puffer, and in there, you're going to use, to fill it, very small amounts. You don't need a lot of amounts, but you'd put this on top. Obviously, you'd take it off. You'd stick it inside where that goes, and you'd add more smoke to it. But you don't want to flood it. If you do end up flooding it, then you got to turn it upside down, maybe blow it out. But if you flood it, it won't work well. So you just, the slightest bit, a little bit goes a long way, is what I should say regarding the smoker. So we'll turn off the smoke. Now, one of the other features, let's get back to our sound. So I'm going to hit the volume button again. So now we're on the lowest sound. But now you do get 4 different sound effects, which is awesome. So you've got, you know, like diesel, turbine, if you got an Abrams, they all have the same sound card inside. But in order to change that, you push the G and the K together. So there's a different sound. And for the most part, the sounds will be different for almost every feature. Machine gun's the same, and the sound is going to be the same of the tank. But you can hear, like, it's really the engine sound that's going to be most. And you got 4 different sets. So that was the first one, the second one, that's 3. And it'll be a different start up and power down sound. So that's like the Abrams. And then you have a real diesel heavy, which I think I'm going to go with for the KV-1. And you do have trim buttons and things like that on the transmitter, but for the most part, they tend to drive pretty straight and clean out of the box. Let's turn off the volume again. Leave it turned on. Traverse the turret a bit. Now, some things I love, every tank is different with regards to how the tracks are installed and the gear, but you see the suspension, really nice on the KV-1 especially. So this one I'm sure will be able to traverse some pretty cool things. Obviously, nothing too crazy. Again, they're not like, you know, you don't want to bash them too hard, I guess, if that's what we're trying to say here. But for the most part, the suspension looks good. I'm so pleased. Let's give a little size comparison. So anybody knows that the Sherman's about the smallest Heng Long tank you're gonna get. So when I put that up against it, front to back, and this one was painted and customized. See, the KV-1's a bit bigger than the Sherman, but I like the short barrel, especially if you have kids and you want to play our battles. I know I do that in my house. The shorter barrel tanks are better for the kids because one thing about a long barrel tank, if they drive into a wall or something, you don't want to snap that off. But with the short barrel, that's going to happen less because, you know, kids, they're going to bash. Now let's take one of our bigger tanks, probably the Abrams, and just show you in comparison. You know, and that really shows you too the price differential on these because they're all 16th scale, so they all scale to each other. But a lot of the price is just determined on the size and what goes into each tank. So you know, a bigger tank is going to cost a little more, and a smaller tank is going to cost a little less. But you can see, you know, a good size range here, and again, pretty nice. Let me get that out of the way. Let's get into the manual first. And again, when you open up your manual, you get a little target if you want to shoot BBs. Oh, I guess we could shoot a BB while we're here. Might as well do that.
Get the target set up.
Get the target set up. So the target is just a pop-out piece of cardboard. You're not going to use it probably too much. I know I only used it really on the table in here. But again, if you want to get a tank, is a great option for a young kid to get into RC because they don't go too fast. They don't really do too much. Obviously, an airsoft BB could, you know, you might not want to load those up for the kids, but if you're monitoring the situation and you're there, you could have some fun with that. I know I do. But a great way to get sticks in your kids' hands, you know, and eventually if they move on to cars or boats or aircraft, then, you know, that works. It's definitely fun. So we'll just set up the target here quick. Put that right there. So target set up. Now with each tank, it's different how you load the BBs or the airsoft. With the KV-1, they all go into the same compartment. That's what I'm noticing. So when you lift up the top on this, you'll see you got your plug-in for your IR, and we'll do that in a little bit. But then you got this little hole here. That's where we're gonna load our pellets, if you will. So let's open up our bag. And again, these are 6-inch, so when you run out with the ones that are supplied, any hobby store or big box store usually has tons of these, you know, in big boxes when you need more. But you do get more than enough, and obviously they're reusable. So if you can find them around the house or outside, that'll work. I'm just gonna put a couple, actually I'll pour them into the box. I'm just going to grab a couple and put them in there. One thing about the tanks, depending on how the BB sits in there, sometimes you might get a misfire or two. So just keep that in mind. It's not always perfect each time, but I'm just gonna load a couple in. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll take 5 shots, and we'll see. If I put 5 BBs in there, closing the top. Now I'm gonna grab my transmitter, and we're gonna aim, Alex. Watch out for... knock that target down. So I'm gonna bring it down, ready?
I'm ready.
We're gonna push the 2 buttons at the top. Boom! 1 shot, down, love it. Comes out pretty hard. I mean, if you were, you know, if you hit skin and you're up close, it'll definitely hurt a little bit. Oh, going a little high. Oh, now I can hit it. That was a misfire. How many? 3 came out. There's 4. And let's just get our last BB out so we don't hurt ourselves. There it is. That's 5. So there should be no more. Boom. Nothing else coming out. So that's a little demonstration of your, you know, BBs or airsoft pellets, if you will. You see, they fire out nicely, and, you know, when it works, it's fun. So next thing's next. If you were going to play IR battling, again, that's something all the tanks can do. So you get your IR sensor, and as I said, there's a magnet on the bottom. So on the top, you just want to find, I'm going to guess, there it is. The magnet's right there on the KV-1. So you basically just mount it, and then let me just plug it in first. Just get it plugged in. There you go. And now if you had another tank to fire at the, you know, at the KV-1, you'd see it go. Maybe I could get another one going real quick. Sherman is going. Now I'm going to fire at the KV-1, see if we can hit it. There it is. So you see it accepts being hit. And now let me turn the volume on, because when you get hit 5 times, it'll shut down. So I'm going to turn that up. I'm going to turn the volume off. So volume's off on the Sherman, volume on the KV-1. That's 3, 4, 5, and it's off. And now you'll see that the light will start flashing, so now you're off. You'll not be able to drive. But I believe it turns back on its own. Let's just see. If not, then you got to push your lock button to start it. Light goes solid, and you're back in the game. So, you know, if you're playing with people, obviously, you wouldn't, you know, making up rules on your own. You're not going to go drive around again, but, you know, it's fun that they work, you know, both ways like that. So, let's turn off the Sherman. And then I'm going to turn the volume off on the KV-1. And at this point now, that basically shows you all the features of the tank that we went through. So, I'm going to take out my IR sensor. Just unplug, put that off to the side with the smoke unit. Now again, you get your antenna. There's a little spot for that, and I think we'll get into some of the accessories. So I'm going to pull out the manual. So again, when you look at your manuals, you get 2. You get one for the tank itself, and one that's going to show you all the functions of the transmitter. Because again, with the transmitter, depending on a combination of the buttons on the front, is going to be how you would change the amount of recoil and the speeds and things like that. So all that's going to be explained in the manual. And now I'm going to go into this manual, find out where all the accessories go, and get them on. Alright guys, so the accessories on the KV-1 are pretty simple. First you have your hubcaps. So they're going to go on all the main tires, and you just, again, clip them. You can clip them out or just spin them out like I do here. And then there are little grooves on each tire for this one where the hubcaps just fit into place, and they lock on there pretty tight. So I'm pretty pleased with that. You get those on there, and then there's 2 main hubs for your idler, which is nice. And then as far as top accessories, you just have a few of these tow hooks with 2 cables and this little metal cable thing that you see here, and that's going to go right onto the tank, and it connects the wire. You're going to run that through after you connect it to the tow hook, run it through one of the spaces on the KV-1, and then hook that up. Looks good. Then you get these two grates on the back, and what you're going to have to do is traverse the turret sideways in order to get to them. And you can see they have 3 nubs, 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. They line up perfectly. Just fit those in. And then there's another little cable hook with 2 nubs that you're going to put into place. And then the last bits are your machine gun accessories. So these 2 little bits go into the machine gun on the back of the turret and 1 on the front of the tank itself, and you're good to go here. And then the last step is getting to the decals. There aren't many. They give you some extra white numbers, but in the book doesn't show where they might go. Again, you could do whatever you want with the tank, so I just went by the book of where they had them. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is my least favorite part of the Heng Long tanks, are some of these decals. They're pretty hard to peel off and get to stick. So what you might want to do is get yourself some micro saw. This is what I use if you have funky decals. This helps to allow you to get decals and manipulate them after the fact around like hard points. Like there are these big rivets on the side of the KV-1 that the decal goes over. But what I'm actually gonna end up doing, and you can see I started doing it, I'm gonna end up painting over the decals with real paint and make it look like it got painted on. I don't want it to look like a perfect decal. I want it to feel like somebody just slapped it on there in World War II and just went going. So I'm going to work on that later on, but to get the main stickers, really it's just the 2 separate stickers on the sides of the barrel, and then there are just a couple of numbers that are on there. 1 on the back of the turret and 1 on the back, I believe. Oh, 1 on the side of the tank itself. So there you go, guys. There's all the decals on, all the accessories, and now let's take it outside, take her for a run. So there you have it, guys. That is an unboxing of the upgrade version of the KV-1 Heng Long tank, and I love it. I can't wait to detail her up. I'll probably end up showing that. Maybe I'll do it on a live video coming up on our YouTube channel. Remember, every Friday at 12 p.m. we're going live at Motion RC's YouTube page, and you know, always doing something different. We always want to, you know, it's a place to learn, so maybe I'll bust out the Benchcraft airbrushes, because this tank definitely needs some solid weathering. It's a little too plain looking on top. It's going to need to look like it's been in battle. But again, guys, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them in the YouTube comment section of this video, or jump on to Hobby Squawk. We have the KV-1 thread there where you could go in and ask any questions, and it'll either be me, one of our customer service guys, or one of the many tankers that are flocking to Hobby Squawk answering tons of questions about this. But also, you could post anything there of any type of tank, whether it's Heng Long or anything. You know, it's a great place for the tank community to get there. But that'll do it for me here with the KV-1. So excited to have this in front of me and can't wait to do some of that detailing. Guys, like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment, please, and we'll see you next time at Motion RC.